How do I feel about this? She was a little cruel there, but she deserves it, I feel like almost, but should I be like that? I maybe make afraid of Sophia then. Hmm, what should I choose? And tell her why was so cruel to Gloria. And that's a nice one. Why were you so cruel to Gloria? Why? Don't you hate her too? Well, maybe, but you're her sister. Aren't you supposed to support each other? Oh, if only Gloria believed that. No, there's certainly no support here. It's mostly her fault. It takes two for a tango, Sophia. She always acts so smug and self-righteous, but there's no trace of her own will or personality in her. She's just trying to copy Mom, even though it's impossible. And of course, she takes out all her frustration on me. And Cinders, she takes it out on Cinders too, right? She probably thinks Mom will recognize her more if she keeps degrading me. I have no reason to be kind to her. I understand, but don't you wish that would change? Living under commotion is hard enough already. Wouldn't it be better to band together instead of fight each other? Maybe, but why does it matter? Why am I even discussing this with you? I must be getting desperate. I realized the Prince and Sophia is pretty much alike in voices, right? Can I make her more female without getting into Gloria's voice, I wonder? Of course, I wonder. I wanted to be better terms with Gloria, but you drew the line a long time ago. I may not be as clever or as beautiful as the mom Gloria, but I'm not as naive. People don't just change. They'll remain cruel as long as it benefits them. That's such a sad outlook in life. It must have been really hard for you growing up. Oh, please, I don't need pity, especially not from you. Life is hard and no amount of sweet word will change that. Now, let's get dinner ready before we get in trouble. It's been nice having someone helping me with dinner for once. Hurry up and take out all the ingredients we're going to need. Why me? Because you're the servant, more or less, Cinder. Isn't it obvious? I hardly stepped foot in this place, so naturally I don't know where anything is. Naturally, that doesn't mean you can't help with the preparation, though. I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I? There's no way you can prepare dinner in 2 hours. Dinner for how many? In 2 hours? You know, people say I'm usually slow when I cook, but 2 hours? Isn't that really a bit too much? How much are they going to totally roast a pig over the fire? Of course, they don't have any oven like that, more than one over the fire, yeah. Maybe take 2 hours for them then. It'd be just as much trouble if you're not done. Mother isn't forgiven toward anyone. I figured out much out myself. Now, here are all the ingredients. Yuck, the stench is unbelievable. Like rotting or something. No, this is just how vegetables smells. Yeah, terrible, horrible, like they are rotten. I made my are green. Otherwise it's like, you shouldn't eat green meat, you shouldn't eat green bread or anything green more or less, except vegetable. They are supposed to be green and then they are good. Everything else is rotten if it's green. They do grow. They grow in the soil, you know. Sure, but I can hardly believe you're actually living with this odor. But sometimes you must feel like a rather large carrot yourself. Or a beetroot, maybe. That's very funny, Sophia. Besides, it wasn't exactly my own choice to move in here. I used to have a proper bedroom before Gloria took it. Of course, how could I forget? Still, you should be grateful. They say that harsh conditions help to build character. Then maybe we should whip you, Sophia. You're bound to become a diamond here while poor Gloria soften with every passing hours. Yeah, making diamond out of coal. Or cinders, maybe. Can't you give me a break for once? If that's how it's going to look, I prefer to risk Hermosa's anger and prepare dinner alone. Oh, fine, don't be so uptight. Sis, one Gloria in the house is one too many. So, what was it like before we moved in with you, anyway? Sure, tell her. Or can she use it against me? No, not really my past. Shouldn't have too much there. Do you really want to know? Of course, we got to talk about something. What's it all? Be awfully dull in here. You can't just admit that you're actually interested in my life. Well, if you must know, the moment we started talking, I decided it's better to imagine you're a character from some bad romance novel. It's much, less personal like that. Yeah, a bad romance novel. Like Cinderella. No, sorry, it's not that bad. Just overused, cliched nowadays. You're such a darling sometimes. Yes, yeah. No, right. I may not be the worst or the best in the family, but you can't accuse me of lacking creativity. Well, maybe not, I don't know. What have you made? But let's get back to that book you're in. Well, life was different when father was still alive. More carefree, although I suppose that's how childhood is. Father had a way with kids. I think he was rather a big child himself, always dreaming. I loved it back then. I see. And how do you feel about it now? It was suffocating, it was too dreamy, it was great, yeah. It should be dreaming during childhood. Dreams, great, carefree. It was great. It was fantastic. I loved it all so much. Everything was so magical. He tried very hard to keep the worries of life away from me. It was like living in a fairy tale. Demons! I used to wonder what having a proper father would be like, but I think I'm all cured now. It sounds like keeping in touch with reality wasn't exactly his forte. That may be, but I was just a kid with a happy childhood. There are some dreams you just don't want to wake up from. Yeah. What about your mother? Do you remember her? Unfortunately, she passed away giving birth to me. I still feel guilty about it, even though I know it doesn't make any sense. Father told me a lot about her, but I don't really know if that's how she was, or just an idealizing image. Either way, I know that her death had a huge impact on him. I think he was very lonely. With you, Cinders? I don't think so. He had you and he tried to make you feel happy in all the ways he could. Perhaps that's why he preferred to get lost in his dreams rather than face real life. I'm sure it got even worse after we came into your life, huh? This onion is making my eyes wet. Yeah, you're crying from it. Give that to me, I chop it. If you rinse the knife first, it shouldn't sting that much. Yeah, or if you put them in the fridge a little before that. making it more or less not really frozen but still a little harder so the fluids don't come out. It come out then when you cook it, but getting better there. Cooking tips for the day from me. As for you, I say my life was definitely different after you came in. Oh, just to be honest, I know your life has been miserable ever since your father married our lovely mother. Trust me, it's not like Gloria and I wanted this either. And yet here we are, one big happy family. And why doesn't she sound like a girl? Doesn't he sound something between the prince and Tobias now? You can be awfully cynical at times. I mean, Cinders is just my own voice, because I believed her would be most. It felt more natural to more or less have my own voice. But Sophia, I should be able to have something good for. Oh, you noticed? But that's almost the mother more here. Fine then, yes, my life got worse when you showed up. I'm a servant, no, a slave in my own house. Not like you would understand. Haven't you seen? She is mostly just above you, but otherwise also a slave in her own house. Yeah, what could I possibly know about it? Stupid onion. It sounds to me like your turn to talk about your life. Well, there's not much to say. That can't be true. It's obvious that a lot happened to you and Gloria. You wouldn't be like this otherwise. Besides, you said you wanted a conversation, so tell me about yourself. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. When we were children, we lived out in the countryside. Our house wasn't as nice as this one though. My father was a military man. He got himself killed in some war, and that left him mother a widow. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be. He hardly ever saw the man. When he was around, he was like a complete stranger. Not a proper father at all. His death must have meant nothing to us. What about Camosa? It must have affected her. Maybe that's why she's the way she is now. I think she was that way before, and that Sophia will tell us that. Was that supposed to be a joke? Mom didn't care about him any more than we did. And why did she marry him? Power, luxury, everything like that. Well, why does anyone get married? Love? Not in that day and age. Sorry guys if you just want a romantic tale there. But usually political marriage was a lot that... oh, I guess. Well, I'm a dream, I want to marry for love. But will that ever happen? Many reasons, yeah, it could be, but sure, we take for love! For love and glory! How about that weird thing they call love? Or is that too obvious? The only thing that's obvious is how naive you are. Can you show me any actual loving marriage you've seen? Let's think about that. Loving marriage. There must. They end most stories actually before they get married, just or as they get married, and otherwise they are dead. They are one parents only, or they are orphans. I mean, I have two bookcases here with books. I'll try to think of a romantic marriage. Where you actually had this. There must be some. Um, that one, but there you hadn't had its lessons. I'm gonna say that anyway. Vaccination between Tamarion and the Duke. Their marriage was very much for love and romance, all like that. Yeah, it's a more than 20-year-old book. If you don't know what it is, Vaccination, however you want to pronounce that. The tales of her. There, I had a loving marriage. I haven't really seen that. Maybe I should have taken real life, but I can't come up with anything. Okay, I'm sorry I cannot come up, but I don't know that many married couple. My own mother was never married. I'm a bastard. Like my brother and sister with her and the new father there. I'm a bastard. Come here. It may be stupid, but I'm not dense enough to think that love is a driving force behind a marriage. Love is a luxury maybe a rich family like yours can afford. But for the rest of us, it is a business transaction. Hermosa come from a poor family. They had a title of nobility, but they lost most of the riches and splendor. The only way for her to advance to the social ladder was to marry, and she was ambitious. She married an officer who was relatively rich and had a lot of accolades. She probably planned ahead even there. For all I know, she chose a man who would probably die in battle so that she could marry even higher later. How can you say that? That's such a cruel assumption. Yeah, it is really. Cruel? It's not like she killed him. He would have died anyway. She just wanted something more out of life. It's still a cool thing to do, yeah, it is. Planning that I marry this one, then she'll die, or he die, and then I can marry again. Maybe though it wouldn't be such a good idea. Marry an old rich woman, fuck her for some years, then wait for her to die, and then marry again, this time a young blonde. There. Someone big there, a blondie with big boobs. You know what I'm talking about, guys? But yeah, it's pretty cool. Cold? Sure it's cold. It's business. I don't see what's wrong with it. Murder's not down. She did what she had to. There's not much room in this world for a woman with ambition, so you take what you can get. So back then was your life as bad as it is now? With that clenched fist of you, power to girl, yeah? Worse. What? How so? Well, you weren't around. So you were the lowest on the ladder, I see, I see. Dot dot dot, yeah. Listen, if you're not around, who do you think become the victim? Mothers always needed a scapegoat, and Gloria would do anything to please that woman. I'm not as pretty, smart, or ambitious as them, so naturally she humiliated me, and Mom didn't disapprove. And now that I'm here, they no longer target you, is that it? That's exactly it! Mom and Gloria have a new scapegoat, and my life is finally a little better. Oh, I see. So now that you've no longer tormented, you choose to torment me instead. Of course, nothing personal, but it's either me or you, and I certainly won't be a victim again. Besides, you should be grateful. Didn't your father shield you from the real world too much? Well, now you get to see exactly what it's like. That's the way you fall things. You're either the hunter or the prey. And as long as the murder and glory focus on you, I can go back to being my own worthless self. What should I say to Sophia? You're so cruel, you're not worthless. You aren't worthless. I should probably say that, don't you think?